But you guys also may remember that I said a couple weeks ago, am I a 2 sweater person at a time? And I did cast on a second sweater. And now with this Heritage Harbor, I have 3 sweaters on the needles at the same time. Who am I becoming? Hello friends, and welcome back to my little corner of the internet. My name is Kristen. I am the maker behind DoSo Knits, my knitting channel where I share with you guys how knitting has interwoven into my life, and some other fiber crafts come up in there as well from here and there every now and again. Today's video is episode 45 of my knitting podcast, where I share with you guys finished objects, works in progress, future cast-ons, all that kind of fun knitting stuff. All of that is here in this video, and I have a lot to show you guys today. I have been knitting a lot of things have been calling my name to cast on, so I definitely have some new content to share with you guys today. So I hope you have something to work on. I hope you have something cozy to drink if you'd like, and we can dive into what I've been working on, and I'm excited to show you guys what I have today. Just a little admin up front, just a reminder, I am hosting the Year of Stash Knit Along. It's really a make along. Just use some of your fiber stash that you had from before 2023 and you can enter those in for prizes. All the information is linked down in the description box below, and I'll try to do the little doobly-doo up here to post to my informational video, but it's been a lot of fun. You guys have been enjoying it. There's a Discord server for you to chat and join and chat with other people. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. And if you'd like to follow me other places, I am DoSo Knits here on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe if you'd like to know when I post my future videos. I am also DoSo Knits at Instagram and on Ravelry as well, so you can follow me those places as well. But that should be all the admin done up front, so we can dive into what I have finished over the last couple of weeks. I have a couple things, not a ton finished, mostly started, but I'll show you what I have. So the first thing that I have finished is my Mystery Advent 2019 shawl that was written by Molly Klatt of A Homespun House, and this is what it looks like. So this is a fingering weight shawl that I held with mohair as well, that you can kind of see, especially in like this red and brown section. They were fingering weight mini skeins, or half skeins. They are 50 grams each, and then it was 2 skeins of the mohair. This was a kit from A Homespun House for the 2022 Advent season. 2021 Advent season, and I knit it in 2022, finishing it this year. So I have finished it. This is 6 skeins out of my stash because each of the minis was 4 skeins, and then the mohair was 2. So that's pretty exciting in my stash goals for this year because I'm trying to use more stash than I bring in. So pretty excited about that. It has a really lovely drape, and with the mohair, it is so soft and snuggly. It's like a half circle kind of shawl, so it's really easy to wear. It's kind of the perfect size to put on under a coat, keeps my neck nice and warm, and the mohair is definitely super snuggly and warm. I could tell when I was knitting it too, like sometimes the mohair would like get in my nose and I would have to like, you know, get the mohair out of my face. But when I'm wearing it, I feel pretty comfortable. I don't feel like it's too itchy. I do think when I first started knitting with the mohair, my hands were kind of a little sensitive, and maybe that's just because I haven't knit with a ton of mohair. But by the end, I couldn't really tell anymore, and like this feels really nice. So I don't think I'm one of those people that have a mohair sensitivity, which I'm happy about considering I'm knitting a sweater in mohair right now. But this is the shawl. It's pretty exciting. I really like it. I think the colors go really well, and I'm excited this is done. Knitting it, I enjoyed the process. There are these sections of garter with, I'll show you in this, there's these sections of garter with eyelets. Really enjoyed those sections. The eyelet rows, every so many rows were really like inspiring. You wanted to get to that next eyelet row because it was fun. And then the brown section and this last section were these slip stitch knit kind of alternating pattern. And then on the return row, you had a purl. Those ones were less fun. The like slip knit pattern with, and you had to hold the yarn in front and then purling back, not as much fun. Definitely felt a bit slower. I did try doing Norwegian purling, and I could do that for a while because the Norwegian purl, you kind of go in and out. But with these longer rows that at the very end were closer to 300 and some stitches, I brought out Portuguese purling, which is where you like hook a pin on your chest. The pin tensions the yarn, and then my thumb would push the yarn down. So I'd kind of switch back and forth to see which one felt better, which one felt faster, just kind of switching it up because those are some long purling rounds. So I am glad this is done. I'm excited to have it. And yeah, like I mentioned, this is a kit, but all the colorways are linked to my Ravelry project page, which is also linked down below. It's held with the plain mohair from a homespun house. I only remember some of the names. I remember this like light pink is frosted cookie. This like minty green is peppermint. Cinnamon stick is the brown. And I don't remember the red. But they're all on there, but it was a kit from a homespun house, and Molly doesn't sell these colors individually from what I know. So I think they're only available in the kit. But this would be a great stash buster project. You only need 200 grams of main color fingering weight, and it's written for with and without mohair, so it could easily be a nice stash buster. If you have leftovers, you could use 50 gram skeins, or you could use full skeins and kind of do two tones, which would be kind of fun. So then the other thing I have that I have finished, it is not knitting, but I did finish these, so I want to show you. Over the weekend, I just like did not have a knitting mojo. I was kind of sick, kind of tired, and my energy level is still kind of low from that. I finished spinning all of my singles of this yarn, or this roving. I will show you this. So since I really didn't have a lot of knitting mojo over the weekend, I ended up doing a lot of spinning. I had one bobbin done and had like maybe a third of the next, and finished the other two during the weekend. This was Malabrigo Nube in the color Wales Road, and it's like 114 grams or so. And I knew I wanted to do a 3-ply, so I did my 3 singles. And my goal with this spin is do it as thin as I possibly can, because I'm trying to be thinner in my spinning. And I'm pretty proud of how thin I was able to get it. This is my last bobbin. I'm pretty sure this bobbin is a little more over twisted comparatively to my other two, but I watched a couple videos on how to spin thinner, and I was trying to implement those practices with this, and I'm pretty proud. So I'm letting these sit and rest, and then hopefully this weekend I will be doing a 3-ply, and hopefully I end up with something between a sport and DK weight. We'll see. I have no idea, but I'm pretty proud of this. I basically just split my roving into 3 33-ish grams amounts to try to get the same amount on each bobbin. I definitely think this bobbin has the least, because I just pulled out 33 grams and the whole roving was like 114 grams, so this ended up having like 40-ish grams versus this one having like 33. But I'm pretty excited. One thing I don't know that maybe if you're a spinner and you're watching, you can tell me, like, what do you do with this end piece? I just kind of like let the twist go as far as I could, and then I just like let it wrap up the bobbin, like just let it go out of my hand and wrap around. And this one I feel like did a little bit better. But is that what you're supposed to do? Or are you just like supposed to like let the twist go all the way to the end and then just like let your wheel suck it up and then let it just like wrap around when you get to the end? Or is there a way to like finish your singles that I don't know about? I would love to know because I really have no idea. But finished these 3. I'm pretty excited about it. I definitely feel like I have a little bit of a spinning bug, especially after watching a lot of Tashi. She spins quite a bit and it's in all of her podcasts. And yeah, I've just, especially in the mornings, with my coffee, haven't necessarily wanted to knit, but sitting behind my wheel has been quite exciting to do first thing in the morning because it doesn't take a lot of my brain power and I can just kind of like spin and let my brain wake up with my coffee. So I'm excited to apply these together. And yeah, I had my Nest Fiber Club come for January. I should tell you how much I am excited about spinning as I signed up for a fiber club for it to come every month. And so it's sitting right up here on this top shelf, and I really, part of me thought about while waiting for these to rest, maybe I would just go ahead and start that spin. So we'll see. I'm having a lot of fun with it and I'm trying new things and I just find it really exciting, and it's just a different hand mechanic, something different for my brain. It's been really lovely with audiobooks and listening to podcasts. So did finish those 3 bobbins. I'm pretty excited. I'm rambling about it, but I have a little bit of a spinning bug right now and I'm not sorry. I'm pretty excited. But like, it's so thin. This is my best one. This was my last bobbin. And like, look at this, like, this little barber pole is so cute. I love it. Okay. Okay, so that's basically all the things I've finished. So then we can move into works in progress. I have a lot here to show you, and definitely some new cast-ons as well, which, you know, what can you do? It's a new month. It's time for some new cast-ons. I mean, we're halfway through February, but, you know. This is kind of a transitional one because I have finished my first sock for my Desert Vista Dye Works for February. This month I am doing a pair of socks for my husband Shane, as you can tell by how long it probably is. I am doing just a normal vanilla sock, doing them on 9-inch circulars, US 0. And this month I am doing the color Slinky, which I mentioned in my January stash stats video because I had already started this color and I didn't have it to show you then. But I'm also holding it with the color Charcoal, which is you can get solid skeins from Susan, who is Desert Vista Dye Works, which is where this yarn is from. You can get solid skeins to kind of coordinate, and you have to use all Desert Vista Dye Works yarn for the Desert Vista Dye Works knit along. So I bought that for contrast and I'm finally using it. So the main color is the color Slinky, and it's based off of like some retro Slinky packaging. I tried to get Shane to guess what toy this would represent and he was like, it does not look like a Slinky at all. And I was like, these giant gray spots, Slinky, a metal Slinky. He's like, that's not a plastic Slinky. And I was like, it's a metal Slinky. But I really like how this color turned out, and this striping is pretty fun. I have finished that first sock. I do 60 stitches for Shane, and then I have just the mere beginnings of sock number 2. So I cast this on last night. I had a little cast on party with myself where I cast on these socks, and I'll show you the other things as well, but kind of picking it up as I go. We're halfway through the month, so I need to finish the second sock before the end of the month, but now that it's just kind of cast on, I think it'll go pretty quickly. The next thing I cast on last night was a Lyle Cap, which is a pattern by Blue Sky Fibers. It's a free pattern. It's written for a DK weight, and I cast this on for my brother. I am this far. So DK weight pattern, it's free. The yarn I'm using for this is Destination Yarn Souvenir. It's 100% superwash merino. It's a DK weight. This is the color olive, and right now it's working out pretty well. I finished the ribbing, which is a 1x1 twisted rib, and now it's just stockinette until I get to the decreases. So I think I have about 7 inches before I start the decreases, and then I'll be good to go. So I started this, and then when I was reading last night in bed, I tried to knit on this while reading, trying to get a little better at it. So yeah, there's not a lot to report on this, but I did start it last night. My brother asked for a hunter green hat, and this was the closest thing I had, and so I finally started it, and it's nice to just have something quick and like a nice thicker weight kind of on the needles. And since this will be kind of a small project, I'm hoping it'll go pretty quickly, and it'll just be like a nice gratifying quick knit compared to a lot of the other projects that I have are more longer projects. I do have the socks, but the socks definitely, like, there's a lot of stitches in a sock. Versus this, if I just worked on this for like a day or two, I could probably finish it within that day or two. And I'm kind of feeling like the need to have something finished. So this might just become a little bit of a focus over the next, 24 to 48 hours. Just to make me feel accomplished in myself. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just start something quickly so you can get it off? Yeah. Plus the grocery girls are doing a knit accessories from your Stash KAL. So this will count for that because it's an accessory and it's yarn that I had in my stash already, which hits 2 boxes that I'm excited about. So then rounding out the cast-ons that I started last night, I started my Heritage Harbor sweater. It's a pattern by Samantha Guerin that I am testing. I started this last night because I finally swatched. My yarn finally came, swatched over the weekend. It was like the one thing I did. I could not even like do this swatch in one sitting because I just had no knitting mojo. I did it in like 3 different sittings to get this swatch done. But this is my swatch. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have already seen it. I made a little reel, but these are the colors I'm using for it. The main color is chestnut and the dark brown is walnut. It kind of gives me like faded Charlie Brown sweater vibes, but in a good way, I hope. I really like the main color and I think it's fun. I hope you guys think it's fun. I know this brown is a little maybe questionable for a sweater, but it's like a yellowy brown and I like it. So I did buy this yarn for this sweater. I didn't go stash diving. Samantha designed the sweater in this yarn, which is North Bay Fiber Heritage. It's a worsted weight woolen spun yarn, and it's 100% Targhee Polypay. I've not knit with Targhee wool. It's a non-superwash. I really wanted to use a woolen spun yarn for this sweater. I don't have any woolen spun in my stash. I did consider yarn from my stash before I did buy yarn for this sweater, and none of them just seemed right. I either didn't have enough yardage or I wasn't a super fan of the color for this sweater, or I didn't have something to stripe with it. So I know that's a lot of excuses, but I just really wanted to use a woolen spun yarn because it weighs like nothing. I don't know, I'm kind of trying to build my brown sweater stash. So this is chestnut and this is walnut. I really like the colors. Like I said, this one is like a yellowy kind of brown, but it's all sourced in America and it's just so lovely. So it's a 2-ply woolen spun Each of these is 150 yards for their 50 grams. So that's pretty cool. Plus, I wanted to show you the inside of the labels are adorable. So this is the label of the yarns that I've already skeined up. Look at this. Look at those sheep. So they give you like all this cute information. This is the best inside of a yarn label that I have ever seen. Because normally these are just things that, you know, you throw away. You don't need to keep a yarn label, but look, how could you throw sheep into the trash can? So. Okay, we had to take a little break because my camera decided it was too hot. So that is the yarn I'm using for my Heritage Harbor. Swatched with it, I'm pretty excited. It's a heavy DK light worsted yarn, but woolen spun, you know, just kind of has a little more wiggle room leeway within it. So yes, I am knitting the size 52-inch bust for this sweater. It's a drop shoulder. I'm not doing any bust darts for it because it is supposed to be more oversized. So I'm going to do a size 52 bust, but I'm going to do a size smaller for my sleeves because for the size 52, which is a size 6 in the pattern, the sleeves just look a little too big. And I'm measuring, I have a drop shoulder in my wardrobe that is a 52-inch. And its sleeve is a little closer to the size down. So with a drop shoulder, you like knit to a certain length versus increasing. So I'm just going to knit to the length of a size smaller. But I'll show you where I got last night after I cast on. I am not very far. It's not super exciting right now, but this is it. Honestly, the swatch is probably more exciting right now. I've done like half a stripe of brown and then a contrast color stripe. This is the back piece. So yeah, you do knit flat for the beginning of a drop shoulder. So what I am doing, I had to go down to a US 5 for the main body. It's written for a US 6, so I am going down 1 needle size. However, since I am knitting flat and I'm trying to switch to Norwegian purling, but right now my Norwegian purling kind of makes me row out a bit, which means my purl stitches are just a lot looser than my knits. What I am doing is I have a US 5 on one end of my interchangeable set and a US 4 on the other end, so that when I'm purling with the smaller needle, and it seems to be making my tension okay. Like I don't see much rowing out happening. So I think this was the right call to make, but we'll see as I keep going. I think I have about 7.5 inches or so. It's whatever the length of the armhole is. So as I do a couple more inches, I'll be able to see if this plan that I have made for myself of purling on a smaller needle is going to work, or if I will have to start over and just purl in a different method. We shall see. But that is where that is. I literally just cast on last night. But when I was searching for sweaters this year, I wanted a top-down drop shoulder sweater. And there are so many drop shoulder sweaters that are knit from the bottom up, and I just wanted a top-down drop shoulder sweater. And then Samantha put out this test knit call, and I was like, I literally messaged her and was like, is this the drop shoulder I've been looking for? And she said it might be, and I applied to test, and very excited to be testing another pattern for her. I love her patterns. Her aesthetic is just, I love it. Matches me. I want to make everything she designs. So I've started that. The yarn's been lovely to work with. It's very squishy and just like, you know, spongy, squishy, lovely to work with. So I'm excited for the weekend to come so I can really sink my teeth into that. But you guys also may remember that I said a couple weeks ago am I a 2 sweater person at a time? And I did cast on a second sweater. And now with this Heritage Harbor, I have 3 sweaters on the needles at the same time. Who am I becoming? Which is probably why the need for a gratification fast knit has been calling to me, hence the hat. But I wanted to show you an update on my Easy V from last episode. I mentioned in the last episode that my Easy V pattern by Caitlin Hunter, I ripped back my color work to start it over because I wasn't super enthused with how the colors were looking. So I ripped it back, I started it over, and I will say I am much happier with my decision. I did them in a slightly different order to get a little more contrast between the colors, but also less contrast from the collar to the colors. And I showed it on my stash video, but I'll show it again because I love it so much. This is what my Easy V is looking like. Here, I'll show you this side because it's less punched up. So this is my Easy V. This brown is a natural merino yarn in a DK weight, roughly, DK to worsted. And then my 3 colors of Spin Cycle Dream State are Rusted Rainbow, Shades of Earth, and Salty Dog. And you repeat those colors again. I did have to do a little color management. I didn't play too much with the Spin Cycle, but just in the fact of like certain parts of Shades of Earth and Rusted Rainbow look exactly the same. There are parts that are like red and brown and orange marled that look the same. I'll see if I can find it. So certain parts, when they were touching each other, I just couldn't tell them apart. Like, so there's this one. I'm pretty sure this is Rusted Rainbow. So like a red, you know, red and brown kind of marl. I think this is also Rusted Rainbow. Red and orange kind of marl. But like this one, this came out of Shades of Earth. But like, it could be a part of these. And so there were just parts where I was supposed to be doing color work with Shades of Earth and Rusted Rainbow beside each other, where they both like had red or orange together. So I just kind of skipped those parts and went to a different section of whichever color and put them in a different spot. For the, there's like color work on the collars, or this isn't a collar, the cuffs, the sleeves, and there I won't mind if it's more blendy. I don't really mind there, but for the entire color work yoke, I really wanted to make sure you could see 3 distinct colors throughout. So I have not split for sleeves yet. That is the next thing on the list. I have like a couple of rounds to go before I split for the sleeves. I did block this after finishing the color work just to make sure that it would fit well and that the length was good, and I think it is, so I am ready to split for the sleeves. And there are supposed to be short rows here after the color work. You do short rows kind of down low. However, there are a lot of people on the Ravelry project pages saying that they skipped the short rows there, or if they did it again, they would skip those short rows because it kind of made this weird kind of bulge. It doesn't really raise the back neck because of how low down it is, and of how like the V-neck just kind of in itself is. Plus, I don't necessarily think I need the back neck higher just because of how this V-neck kind of sits. I don't necessarily think it's a necessity, so I'm just gonna skip the short rows. And we'll see. I think for me, it's the right call right now. And if I need to rip back, I will, because I've ripped this back once and I don't mind ripping it back again. I am very enthused with these colors though. I need to get back to this. I basically finished the color work, blocked it, and I haven't really picked it back up. So I need to get back into this because it is, I don't know. I want to say the words that came to my brain were the sweater of my dreams. I don't know if it is actually a sweater of my dreams because I don't necessarily dream about sweaters, but like pulling this out, I'm very excited about this sweater and I really want it. Again, for this one, I'm also doing a 52-inch bust and no bust darts. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping it will give me large sweatshirty kind of vibes with that sweater. And then I only have one more sweater to show you. And this is my Forager sweater by Melody Hoffman. I've shown this to you quite a bit. I'm knitting it in Cascade 220 in the color Turtle. And I'm holding it with Knit Pixel Loft, which is a mohair and silk blend lace weight in the color Labyrinth. The Cascade 220 is a worsted weight. And this is where I'm at. I put the body on hold and I went to start the sleeve. I did start the sleeve once and I ended up ripping it back. This raglan is pretty deep for my arm. Like comparatively, my bust to my arm, I have tiny arms compared to my bust, and the raglan in this is very, very big. And looking back at the project page, the sleeves are pretty wide. There's not a lot of decreases. They have like a pretty open bottom, and I don't want that. I am a toddler. I need cuffs that, you know, sit on my wrist, because otherwise things will get stuck in here. I will end up washing them in the sink because the cuff is too long, and if they don't hug my wrist, I will end up just pushing them up. So I redid the sleeve decreases, and I'm decreasing at a faster rate than what is recommended in the pattern, or at least what's written in the pattern. And we shall see how it goes. So I just base it off of like a cuff like this, what I would want my final measurement to be versus what the beginning measurement is. Figured out how many stitches I would need to decrease over the length of my arm, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it'll be okay. It's a pretty quick decrease. I'm decreasing every 3 rounds is the math that I figured out. So it's definitely going to be like a nice decrease slant. But yeah, I'm still very excited about this sweater. I've shortened it a lot, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I put the body on hold. I'm going to start on the sleeves. I just needed something a little different. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. We had like kind of a false spring here in Denver. So my like need/want to work on this sweater kind of feigned because it was nice and warm outside, and now we have snow today. So now I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have like a warm mohair sweater? Versus like 2 days ago I was like, wow, I can walk outside in like a short sleeve shirt and be fine. Actually, it was a long sleeve shirt, but you know, no jacket required. So yeah, sleeve island slightly. I just needed a little difference. And yeah, that's basically all of my projects that I have. I hope you guys have been doing very well. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you coming to listen to me talk about my knitting and what I've been making and what I want to make and all of the, you know, the things along the way with that. If you would like to hang out with me more often, consider joining the Patreon. On there, I do blog posts kind of more about what I'm thinking. You get a more behind the scenes look about my knitting planning. I do knit and chat videos where I kind of record some stream of consciousness, and we have community and Zoom nights as well. So if you'd like more, that's just an option. But if not, please feel free to like this video so that I can find other knitters here on YouTube, and subscribe if you'd like to see my future content. I hope you guys have put a little bit of love in every stitch of your knitting, and I will see you guys again in a couple weeks for another podcast video. Happy knitting, happy winter if you're in the north, and I'll see you guys again very soon.